Good morning and welcome to Lori's Happy Stamps Key to My Heart Paper Pumpkin Alternatives for January 2023. We're going to be making, I think it's 7 or maybe 8 alternatives today in hopefully under 15 minutes. So let's get started. This is the kit, and I wanted to let you know that I am using one of the celebration items today to really pump it up. And the item that I'm using is this. It is the patterned paper, designer series paper that's called Favored Flowers. It's a 12 by 12 designer series paper, and it has loads of possibilities. It's free with a $50 gift purchase. And if you buy the Fragrant Flowers Bundle, it's $48.50. So all you would have to add is one more small item, maybe some embellishments, maybe some additional cardstock or the card pack, and you're there. So you get the paper for free. But if you are one of my subscribers, then you will get a pack from me coming in the mail shortly, and it has a little bit of the DSP in it, has a couple of envelopes, a couple of the add-on heart boxes so that you can give them a try, and if you like them you can order more. So here is the Fragrant Flower stamp set. Really pretty. It doesn't look like much, but oh my gosh, this thanks and this hello are perfect for our crafting. And I love the flowers. I'm using one last item, and that is the go-to greetings, the just a note, but this is another very versatile stamp set, and it's in a variety of fonts and shapes, so perfect for everyday stamping. Let's get started. Our first, I just wanted to share with you the first cards that are from the kit, and I did these exactly as the kit shared. I did add some keys to the inside of this, and I doubled the twine because I thought it looked heftier and made a prettier card. And for the outside of the envelope, I just made a lock and a key. For the second card, I did exactly as the sample showed, and on the inside some hearts and a couple of keys, and then for the envelope just simple hearts on the outside. And for the third card, again the same as the sample, and on the inside a simple little key lock, heart lock, which I think is so sweet. And for the outside of the envelope, 2 locks. So that's the way I did the regular stamp set. And now let me share with you how we did the I really utilized the stamps, and again, if you haven't already, I stamp all of my stamps onto a piece of white cardstock and cover it with packing tape, and that way my pieces fit perfectly on there. Let me wait on this one. Okay, my first alternative, I use a regular envelope and I put keys on the outside on the flap, and I use a white piece of cardstock that is 4.5 by 11 scored at 4 1/4 scored at 5.5, and it looks like this. So I took the envelope and I cut it open. I made some designer series paper from the envelope, so it's about 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I stamped some keys in Calypso Coral, covered it with the vellum, and then I stamped the hello from the Fragrant Flowers set. I doubled the twine and tied it, added some gems, and on the inside I took another piece of that envelope and cut it to make a little border at the bottom, and I added a key. Thought that looked so cute. It didn't have to be a Valentine. I added some of those pretty gemstones, and for the envelope, the outside of the envelope, the flap has some keys, and the outside has some keys. This is a regular white envelope that I used. The second card, I took the inside of the key from the card that was suggested from Stampin' Up, and I made it into a vase or a vase. And what I did is I stamped on it first, and then I put 3 dimensionals underneath it, and then I glued all around it and glued it flat. So it gets kind of like this 3-dimensional bump on it, which makes it look like it's filled with something. And then I took the centers of the locks and I made them into sweet little flowers. I used soft succulent, and I just added a couple of what are those called? Stems, and I just handmade a couple of simple leaves, and then I stamped some floral pieces, just some flowers that I've had from another kit, in the soft succulent on the vellum and off the vellum. And I put To My Valentine on here. And on the inside, I stamped the flowers. Again, you could use flowers from any stamp set that you've had in the past. Paper Pumpkin has had them, and other stamp sets often have little random flowers. So I did the flowers on the flap and on the front of the envelope. So cute card. All right, easy to not make it a Valentine card by switching up the sentiment as well. Okay, this one is You Hold the Key to My Heart, and again I used the center of the key card and I made it into a lock itself. I added 2 of the stamps from the kit, and I outlined it with fresh freesia using my Stampin' Right marker. Did I do that? Oh no, it's the ink alcohol one. And then I used the Calypso Coral for the 2 heart pieces, and I stamped You Hold the Key. I put some twine underneath there, and I added one of the keys. I took a little sliver of the dimensionals and off the edge, and I cut it and then twisted it around the top part so it bumps up, and then glued this flat because the key piece is on dimensionals. I know you can see that, the lock. Okay, and on the inside, I just added Calypso Coral hearts all the way down, and for the envelope, I did the same. I used the hearts on the front and just a little bit on the flap. For the next card, I used an envelope, and I used one of the hearts from the boxes. I just pulled it off of the box. And what I did for this card is I used one of the key card bases. I added some fresh freesia keys down at the bottom. I made my own label, and I outlined it with Calypso Coral, and then I added "You Hold the Key to My Heart." And on the inside, then it has a three-dimensional heart, and I added the key, doubled the twine, and added a key at the bottom. For the envelope, I added 2 keys on the back flap and some keys on the front of the card envelope. So the next one is I used one of the card bases and I turned it inside out, and I scored it at 2 1/8 and flipped it back on itself. And then I took a piece of basic white, and I cut it to 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, glued it inside, added some hearts, and then these are some flowers from the designer series paper that I cut and bumped up on dimensionals. I added a lock, and I stamped "Hello" from the Fragrant Flowers on one of the labels and glued it halfway on. So when you open it, I also put a lock on the inside and butted it up to the edge. So when you open it, it looks like the locks are connected, and then you've got these pretty flowers. So it makes a beautiful card. And for the envelope, I used the heart lock in Calypso Coral and fresh freesia. I did it on the front as well. The next cards now are all using the designer series paper. This is this card, and what I did is I just used my trimmer and cut out the center. I added some of the glitter, what is this called? The glitter tape. And then I fussy cut one of the flowers out of the DSP. I put it up on dimensionals. And then when I open it, this "Hello" stays on here. And it is bumped up on dimensionals. And I cut another flower and slipped it in underneath, glued it flat. And you can see I butt it against the side. So again, a very pretty card visually, and a little bit of a surprise because when you open it up, the "Hello" stays there. So I just used my trimmer, and I started at 1 1/4 inches, went down and stopped, then turned it 1 1/4 inches from the edge, trimmed it, 1 1/2 inches, trimmed it, 1 1/2 inches, trimmed it, and then poked it out. So there you go for that card. And for that card, I covered the flap with the designer series paper. The flap is 2 1/4 by 6 inches, and then just glued it and trimmed it. And then I added just the outside piece from the lock, the stamp with Calypso Coral, and I think it looks a little bit like a flower. So that makes a cute floral flower card. My next card is a gatefold card using one of the card bases, and it's actually using one of the lock card bases. So what I did for this card is I scored it at 2 1/8 inches on either side, and then it opens up like this. So the way I did that is I took a piece of cardstock, basic white, that's 6 1/8 by 5 1/4, and I scored it at 2 inches. And so then when I had the card base open like this, all I did was glue this piece flat into here, and it covered the left-hand side of the card base and the center. And then when I fold it, when I glue it down flat, I fold it and it closes like that. Pretty cool. And then I took 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper, and it's 1 7/8 inches by 5 1/4, glued them to the outside of the card, and I took one of the extra fresh freesia pieces and glued it only on the left side, and added a little vellum piece, stamped just a note, and bumped it up on dimensionals. Then I added 2 of the locks, added some black twine this time, and some dots from the bling. So you could use anything. You could use sequins, you could use rhinestones, so it's up to you. But I think that makes a really stunning card. And the last, let's see, oh my gosh, what is, did I go through all of these? I did. Oh, here is the box. Then the box has a top and a bottom, and you need to look at it carefully because on the inside of the box it'll say top and it'll say bottom, and it already has the tape on it, so you're just going to glue those down with the tear-in tape that's already in there. And you're going to do the same to the bottom. I added a couple of nuggets. It comes with a banner that I stamped friend from the Fragrant Flowers kit. I added the inside of the key here. I colored it with petal pink and attached it on. Attached the key that came in the kit, and also added a bow and a little bit of twine. So that's it. I hope you feel really crafty this month and have fun. See you on Friday, February, is that 5th?